Hi guys, it's me, Gentleman Machine again, and for this video that I will be dedicating to Easter of the year 2026 AD, I shall be talking about the big one, the big Easter movie that came out in 2004. Directed by Mad Max himself, Mel Gibson, The Passion of the Christ. And by God, this movie is it's definitely a movie, and it's got something very in common with the movie that I just covered for Easter too. Watership Down, in that it's a movie that I think that when people first saw it, they were like, oh boy, it's a movie about Jesus Christ from the Bible. Let's everyone go see it. They brought their kids, their parents, their grandparents, and everybody else involved too in family affairs, thinking that it'd be a very good route through Christianity, and it would be discussing a very interesting part of Jesus Christ's life, the end times for him. And when they saw it, I could imagine many people, many children be like, oh my God, that's disgusting, that's disturbing, that's really gross. Why the fuck did you bring me here to see this movie? Much like Watership Down. Which, yeah, I don't like you have that trend for Easter-related movies and movies that involve cute little bunny rabbits. But, yeah, that's kind of a weird trend I noticed with this. Now, I should tell you that, I'm gonna give you guys time to switch over to some other reviews of this movie or some of my other stuff too, because I will be talking about this movie as if I were talking about any other movie. So we comedy with dark humor. So yeah, just fair warning, this review will take care of the funny stuff, because like with all my reviews about religious themes and religious movies in general, I want to make it perfectly clear that I'm not making fun of the actual religion itself with the people that are involved in said religion. I'm making fun of the movie itself. So I'm not making fun of Christians, Catholic, Protestants, and so on and so forth, Baptists, and whatever, what have you. So I'm not making fun of any men or women who follow the faith, because I know that'd be wrong, because I'm Christian too. I'm Catholic, to be more specific. But yeah, let me just put this out there. The reason why I can talk about this movie so loosely, I'll put it that way, is that I'm not very religious, as were my parents, and my grandparents were very, very religious. So by the time it got down to me and my generation, we were all very desensitized to religion, to the point that I can make these commentaries on this movie that's well overblown, if you ask me, and too Korean and graphic for my tastes, for my personal tastes. And the thing with my father can't stand to watch this movie because of all the gore and all the violence and the slow motion and the blood spray and everything. So it's a little bit much for someone like him that likes war movies and etc. 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 So yeah, that's a lot about him. I'm sure that if my grandparents had seen the movie, they probably would have liked it. And the more hardcore people who like with religion and whatnot, they probably would find this movie to be a blast. So I'm gonna give you guys a few seconds to actually switch to something else while I prepare for this monumental discussion about this movie. So this is supposed to be the last record of the last couple days of Jesus Christ's life before he is executed and crucified. Whichever synonym you want to use first for that. And they get this source from the New Testament of the Bible. How accurate it is, I can't say. I'm not that much of a comber of the Bible. Now, let me just talk about the name of this movie first. The Passion of the Christ. Personally, I never refer to Jesus Christ as the Christ. But my aunt said that she's heard about people that use the term the Christ. My dad never used that term or heard of it. So it refers more to, it refers less to a specific person and more or less like the Redeemer, the Messiah. Also, this movie is how should I put this? It tells the tale of Jesus Christ of Nazareth being executed, which they do go into way too much detail on it. But I do like the fact that they use Latin for it, to give it more authenticity and stuff. And my father hates that because he wants to be able to translate it into English and stuff from Italian, make sure it's accurate. I'm sure that they had a few little problems with the translation too. For example, they refer to little children that bother Judas later on in the movie as being little Satans, little devils. Now, I was always under the impression that the devil and Satan were together, with one person, one being. And yeah, when you put it like that, the movie is fairly accurate, meaning that the word Satan is supposed to be like an old word that means the adversary. So little children that run around and kick him and bully Judas up to make the contract with the Caiaphas, or whatever her name is. They are his adversaries. So that makes somewhat of a sense. And also, they refer to them as devils. I think this could be a translation error because they refer to they could be referring to demons. Because I remember there was only one devil in Christian mythology, and that'd be Lucifer, Satan, the Beelzebub. And by the way, Judith is played by Luca Lainalo. And by the way, I'm sorry if I mispronounced any words here, but any names I should say, but comes the breaks. I'm only human. Anyway, they also cover they also have him on the lower end of the IMDb page on Google here. I don't know whether that means that Judas is not important or because he's an evil character or whatever, but yeah, they have that in there. I mean, Judas is a pretty important character in the story about how Jesus was killed and whatnot. So anyway, this is supposed to be the last couple of days of Jesus Christ's life, which, if you go to any Sunday school, they'll teach you about it. And the metaphor that I'm going to use for this is kind of weird and unusual, but it's kind of appropriate. We learn about Jesus Christ's crucifixion, that he died for your sins and all this other stuff. But this movie goes way overboard with the detail and with the gore and slow motion and the trials and tribulations of Christ, of the Christ. Which I love the way he pronounced it. He had the Galilean, the Nazarene, Jesus of Nazareth. You have Yeshua. They refer to him as the King of the Jews, the Messiah, the Redeemer, etc., etc. Which is kind of nice, kind of like sometimes they provide that little authenticity to it. But it's kind of like if you go to a sex education class in school, and we all know and love that class. I know I did. But it'd be like them trying to teach you contraception and to teaching about it in a book or using a picture of a condom or maybe bringing in a condom or a female contraception or whatever device. And then going into very, very bad detail into it. Like graphic detail. Like it'd be like the difference between showing you how to use a condom and contraception and all that, and then having the teacher or instructor actually strip down and then use one with a partner, and using all kinds of methods and positions that you normally wouldn't even dream about doing. So it's kind of like that, that you don't want to know certain details about the crucifixion that you probably would be better off not knowing about. But they each all the glory and all the vile methods that the Romans used to torture this poor guy. And yeah, he was tortured. Now, let's see here, should bring this up. Yeah. When I was watching this movie, I kept thinking of different angles that I could take when I discuss it with you guys. for my video here about what could be too much and too little funny and all that. So we're kind of like really stretching the line with some of the commentaries. So that's why I give you the warning in the beginning. Now, I like the fact that in the beginning they show Jesus Christ in like a field, in like a ruined area. It's all blue. And it shows that Judas actually did the deed and informed the head rabbis over there about where he was located. So then they had to get the Praetorian guards come and get him. And they show him getting his third piece of silver from the caliphate, from Caiaphas, I should say. And yeah, it's really brutal because at first, you could just arrest him and carry on from there and be kind of peacefully, because it's not resisting. He's not doing anything in this way. It's like God's putting all that for him to be arrested and crucified and then killed. So yeah, but they're very wicked, brutal. They punch him each time, kick him on the ground, and just in general, make life a living hell for Jesus. He wouldn't do anything that would warrant such horrible crimes. And the first thing that comes to mind about his kindness is one of the soldiers that actually is sent to arrest him is his ear is taken off by one of the swords. And then they say, if you live by the sword, you die by the sword and all that. So Jesus Christ must use some glue or something to put the guy's ear back on his head. That was kind of funny. So then they have him walking with the guards over by the a wall or an aqueduct somewhere. Yeah, after they arrest him. And then they punch the guy so that he falls over the edge of the aqueduct or the wall. And it reminds me of the song from Pinocchio. I got no strength to hold me down. And that was kind of funny. But it was very brutal and very young. Too cool. Now, that was just the beginning, the opening salvo of cruelty in this movie. Because, yeah. They do it way worse. That's like nothing compared to what happened in the movie. And you can tell that the people who have the cast are like, we really doing this. We really beating the guy senseless. We really doing this to the Son of God, or the actor that plays the Son of God. And yeah, some of it's actually really real horrible, really wicked. And I could get through the movie fine. My father, when we saw this years ago, he was crying for it. And that's very rare, because ever since my mother died, the only thing that made him cry was seeing movies that she was in or that she really enjoyed. So this is actually really, really a powerful movie for him. even though, like I say, it looked like violent movies in the past. So I didn't find I didn't find it that bad because I wasn't really grown up to be religious. That and the fact that I knew about all the hyper violence in this, and I was okay with just that. But that aspect outweighed the fact that it was Jesus Christ, because I couldn't believe that something this violent would be in the Bible. And I'm sure that they meet some uh, some they added to the movie. They added like more fluff and more gore and violence just to the movie, so that we would feel bad for this guy. Now that being said, there was quite a bit of anti-Semitism because the amount of the movie you see that the head rabbi, the Caiaphas, or whatever her name is, didn't actually kill Jesus, but he kept egging on the crowd to try to get him to go his way, to get him to hate Jesus Christ and condemn him to death. But that's always been the problem with anti-Semitism. That's always been like this notion that you could Christ, or your ancestors could Christ, or whatever. Personally, I don't buy that. I mean, the sins of the father do not pass on to the son or daughter. And second of all, it's the Romans that Christ actually did do the crucifixion, did kill him with the spirit of destiny, all of that. So, to drum up hatred for one group of people after that also done years ago was just wrong, in my view. I have people who are friends of mine that are Jewish. I don't the historical fact against them at all. And it's quite sad actually that the anti-Semitism that rose from this movie was so fierce and so prevalent. It's actually really sad and depressing. It was almost like this whole hotbed of fear and hatred toward the Jewish people were always there, but this movie just reignited all of that. So it's like it was actually real hard from people to be reactionary toward this movie. I mean, it's just a piece of fiction about something that may or may not have happened years ago, and that was really sad. But the thing is that there wasn't any type of reaction toward the Italian community that descended off of the Romans, which isn't right at all, I don't think. So anyway, they have Jesus Christ being led around, being tortured, no doubt slaughtered almost to death, but not to death, because they need him alive to carry around the cross, to be whipped, all this other stuff too. So anyway, they have Jesus Christ meet with the three rabbis that would partially condemn him to death, and they don't like the fact that he considered himself to be a Messiah. Now, I don't think that in the actual Bible itself that actually referred to himself as the King of the Jews, or the Messiah. I think that was something that made up for whatever reason. This is what I think. But anyway, I actually missed the Caiaphas from the Bible-based series, in that when Jesus told him that he was in fact the Messiah and all that, he was so pissed, so angry with it, that he ripped open his shirt like a Hulkster. And it was like kind of funny. So I missed that about him. So they also talk about how Tim Harbaugh about what he done. They have Judith try to throw coins back at the high priest or the high rabbi, to which the rabbi said, "No, take these back. You already did. You're on the highway to hell. You're a good boy. You're on the highway to hell." And that was that. I just saw the brutality of what happened. I'm sure that he probably was under the assumption that they would just arrest him and maybe rough him up a little bit, but when they saw the brutality of it and the fact that the Roman soldiers they would get off on it, he didn't like that at all, because according to the story is, Christ was actually a nice man, a hippie, if you will, and he would not fly, all that. So they also do like flashbacks that while he's getting pummeled to death, or nearly to death, and he showed like happy times, like because they say the mind bend and twist to meet the reality of the situation. So they have him remember at Sermon of the Mount. Christ think about the broken bridge Last Supper there, and then they have him when he put the open they have him talking about the fisherman story too, with John, all that, and other such things. And he even says that during the Sermon on the Mount, he says, "Love thy enemy," because if you love the one that loves you back, there's no reward for that. So you gotta love the one that hates you. Anyway, they also have the devil in this film, Satan, and the character of Satan is played by Rosalina Slentro, and this might sound kind of stupid, but I missed the Obama devil from the Bible mini series. He was awesome. Even though he really doesn't say anything that much, except for at the end of the movie when he said, "No, we're not." And when you didn't know, yes, when he's killed. So anyway, he's shown being judged by the rabbis that the Antichrist or the false Messiah or the imposter, and then they end up going to Pontius Pilate in front of in front of a crowd of people. Say, you decide who gets crucified. This man that they claim is the Messiah, and then the rabbi Caiaphas has to egg him on and say, no, he's the imposter, he's the imposter, he's the imposter. And this is the biggest problem with the movie, I think. This is what tells the whole thing about the anti-Semitism, because they had that one guy in the crowd who is Jewish say, you know, that egg on the judgment of Christ, and that's not right. That is not right. I don't care if they have it in the Bible. It's not right to drum up those feelings of negativity towards the Jewish people. No, yeah. So anyway, the guy that he's going up against is a guy by the name of yeah. Okay, they don't have here, but it's the guy that looks like the name Sean Wallace, and so, his name starts with B. So he's like, I'm definitely gonna be hanged, or I'm definitely gonna be crucified because I murdered someone. So then when Kelly says that he's the imposter, the crowd automatically says to hang to kill Jesus. And he's like, oh, hot damn, it's my lucky day after all. So then you see they all got a piece of red tongue at Pontius Pilate and all that. He says, are you sure you want me to kill Jesus Christ? His own crime was saying that he was the Messiah. Go, yeah, kill Jesus and all this stuff. And I felt like saying, Satan, 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 Satan. You know, like in the movie, in the show, Dragon Ball Z. So anyway, and then comes the most infamous part of the movie. The part of the movie that everybody knows is freaking disgusted by. The over-the-top brutality and masochism of the being Jesus Christ, who was played by Jim Caviezel. And yeah, it is very brutal. Too much torture. But in my own funny mind, I kept thinking to myself, wouldn't it be great if they put the song Whip It to this part? That would be funny. And not only that, but I think Jim Caviezel is Italian, something around there, something European. Imagine how controversial the scene would be if instead of a pure white person, they got someone that was Middle Eastern or black for the role. That would be a whole hell of a lot of controversy. Seeing a black guy be whipped and beaten up to the point of almost lose consciousness. So In a lot of ways, I'm kind of glad they went with the stereotypical Jesus look for the sky. So let's push forward. Poor Jesus. Yeah, that's like what you do when you go to church. Say, let's go to church for Jesus. Look, went into theater type thing. For Jesus. We have double fist there for Jesus. And, yeah, yeah, this is too disgusting to real to subscribe. But I'm gonna try anyway. They use your standard whips to show his to make sure that it makes him tender like a piece of beef. And now I wouldn't be surprised to use raw meat for that purpose. And then they switch over to cat o' nine tails. That'd be whips with different strands on them with let's see here, knives or sharp edges on them so that it really tears up the person's flesh. And it's really, really unpleasant to look at, and really unpleasant to think about too. But after they get done beating the Jesus out of Jesus Christ, they end up untying him, unshackling him, and then they have his mother, who was played by Mia Morgenstern, and on here they have Mary, just Mary, her mother Mary, and you put down the Virgin Mary instead. And they have Monica Bellucci, who plays Mary Magdalene, also in this too, and they clean up his blood, his holy blood, if you will. And when they're beating the crap out of Jesus, they always say, when if I looked at this, he said, holy shit. I said, yep, that's what it is, holy shit. Because this movie is, a movie about last days of Jesus Christ, but it's a snuff film. It's very disturbing and very cold and very red, if you will. So yeah, I'm not gonna recommend this one to anybody, even the hardcore people. And anyway, so then they end up crown of thorns on Jesus Christ's head, and yeah, pretty wicked. I'm not even gonna make a joke about that because we have to think about thorns and pointy objects, especially on my head. So I'm not even gonna go near that. They tend to pull. But the Romans don't do that and say that he's got a crown because it's the king of the Jews. So by that alone, by the mocking his pain and suffering, they feel left out because they're not there was no actual hatred toward Italians or toward Romans from this movie, or at least there wasn't nearly as much as there was for anti-Semitism. So I feel kind of left out in that regard, and they had to have the two brutal people, the Roman cars being known as the brutish Roman, and then they have the scornful Roman. I couldn't tell which one was which, but whatever. So anyway, after they get done with the initial beating and putting him with the cross and stuff, they also have a nice little flashback to when he was a carpenter, making chairs and making tables for whatever reason. I don't know, they could have done like a bigger project, a house or something. So anyway, then they go into Jesus Christ's punishment of carrying the cross for himself. And this is controversial at best too, because I mean, first of all, the cross itself looked like a prop. It didn't even look like it was made of wood. Second of all, there was a copious amount of slow motion in this. Now, it makes sense to put that in there for like an action movie like 300, but why is it that they put like older type biblical-esque movies in slow motion? Could you imagine if they did that with say Spartacus? With it's supposed to be I am Spartacus. You know, when the guy lost it up at the end of the movie, that's lead support Joe Spartacus. But I could still see them doing that in slow motion, saying, I am Spartacus. And then there's like 10 times each person. Anyway, yeah. And the thing is that Jim Caviezel falls so many times in this movie. Hell, I could walk better than like I can. Better than Jesus in this movie can. You know, my disability and stuff. So that's really funny actually. And then the girl got bring some water. And during that part, it kind of reminded me of that song from Water from the Jungle Book. You know, I bring water and such like that. So one thing I forgot to mention that when he was beaten by the Roman guards, I felt like saying, you know, are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Now, they have, they have one guy that helps Jesus Christ, being that he can't, physically move the cross at one point to another point. So we're kind of like, bring your own punishment. And the guy is like, you know, I'll help this man out. But I want it to be known that I ain't doing anything wrong. I'm just doing it just because I was asked so nicely by the guards. Which is kind of selfish. Yeah, to me, like, I'm just telling out this person because I don't want it. I don't want anything bad to happen to me. But he eventually comes to and I have a little woman like a young man, like, I get your back, give me some knuckles. So I'm pretty sure that part was in the Bible, because it was in the Bible ministry as well. But it was so nice for me to help him shoulder the burden to the end. I don't know what happened to him afterwards, but it was nice that he helped him at the end. So then they end up going to the, the mountain where it was supposed to be crucified, as they felt like 3 or 4 times to add an extra hour to the movie. I could, it's where I could work better, better and straighter than the cross leading Jesus Christ. And then you were like, after some heckling from some of the other passers-by and some of the older and some of the other people there, that he like, you leave him alone, he's with me, he's my homie. That's probably they got the phrase, Jesus is my homie. And then they get the part where he's gotta be put on the cross and crucified. And this is actually kind of hard for most people to watch because Jesus Christ was an innocent man with no sins to his name, so he only did good things. He only taught love, peace, and kindness. So seeing him like that, in constant pain and suffering, was actually real hard for most people. Hell, it was real hard for me to watch it on the first time because I didn't expect to see all that stuff, all that gore and detail. But it's supposed to happen that way. I can't say that for sure, but it's supposed to happen that way. Now the thing is that it's a very horrible experience, right? But you would think that his mother Mary, and his followers would be happy that he's fulfilling his father's will. That that he be crucified because that's what God wants. That's what Big Daddy wants. And you would think that they would be honored to be part of his important part of his life. And along with that, they say that Judas was not the evil person in this. He was only fulfilling God's will. So when the little Satans pull him and pick on him and stuff, it doesn't make much sense. But I notice that kids that do follow him around transform into like the living embodiment of the devil. So it's kind of funny, but when one of the kids transform, it kind of looks like the devil, but the devil from the movie Devil, which happened to be already. Anyway, they show that after Judas tried to get back the coins, and the rabbi says no, no to him. He tried to run away with the little Satan behind him, and he ends up going into the desert and then hanging himself in the shadow where Jesus Christ is. And it's really funny to me that they give like a sacrificial type doggy with a rope around his neck. So when Judas gets the brilliant idea about killing himself, he uses the donkey's bridle for it, and then hangs himself. Quite the most delightful way too for a kids movie about Jesus Christ. Yeah, that's one thing I think they could cut out. Anyway, I find it really funny. I mean, very funny. It isn't like a joke I'm making up or anything, but I find it really funny that when they have the donkey or the mule on the ground there, it's supposed to be like a mirror of the donkey that Jesus Christ rode in on when he came to Jerusalem last time. But it seems like the donkey in this part is more like he's smiling, but with a Cheshire cat smile, like overly big, like like he's happy to be a help to Judas and kill himself, like a sign from the devil, like a sign from the devil. So that's actually pretty funny. It's something that's in the movie. I forgot what time it is, but that's pretty interesting. And then they have then little devils end up saying good, hang the bastard. Even though we all know that it was part of God's plan and stuff. So then you have Jesus Christ go to where he's gonna be crucified, his last breath, if you will. And they have the part where he gets beaten up again too, to where I explain myself. But not enough. He just was praised throughout the town. He was beaten up, he was humiliated, he had some guy spit on his face. To where I say that was like a little relief for him, getting a spit in his face. But it was a cool breeze to what's coming. And it was kind of enjoyable too. So, he gets beaten up, his eyes, when his eyes is blown out, he's got scars everywhere, got open wounds everywhere, he's just miserable. And the thing is that it's kind of funny that you beat the Jesus Christ as Jesus, but they don't actually show any nudity in it. They never show, what's underneath his shroud of Turin, if you will. Which is kind of weird. Like, you can beat the crap out of him, you can show blood, you can show spit, flesh coming off his body, but none of his manhood. That'd be too much. So anyway, they lay him down on a cross. And I don't know the actor being tired or just directing in general. But for some reason, I don't buy the fact that they put the stake through the guy's hand. Because when he did it, he had no reaction. None whatsoever. I would like to put in the end of chorus song that you do. Da 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 da. Anyway, back with serious matters. They find out that his arm can't reach to the other side of the hole. So what did the guy do? He put it back into it and show him using his own muscle to actually rip out the guy's arm out of the shoulder socket so it reaches. And then you hear a big crack. So when it happens, it's like, oh man, he broke the wishbone. He broke Dean Caviezel's wishbone. So then they have then take care of his feet. Now I for one thing prefer the whole idea about then getting 2 feet when one shot and with the guy and while all that's happening, the the rabbis over there looking like, yeah, we did good. We took care of this guy who said they ruined our temple. And, bring bad stuff for us and stuff. So we done good. So, anyway, they have the 2 guys that, the 2 actual bad guys that said that, remember me, Lord. And, this man is innocent. We deserve this punishment, but he's innocent. So remember me, Lord, when you're in heaven. So he said, I grant you'll be with me in the kingdom of heaven. To where I say that when Jesus Christ was actually being crucified and talking to God, says, forgive them, for they know not what they do. It's like that. And this makes the rabbis on Caiaphas and whatnot, they pause. They're like, of all the things he said, what would that make them pause? Because I think that they realize that they're doing a whole thing, and they're telling them to go to your mind, do even more torture to the poor guy. And they even had some for the cross with Jesus on it and stuff. I don't know how factual that is, but they had to do that before they actually put it in the ground. And let's see here. When they were talking to God, I almost felt like saying, Papa, can you hear me? From Fiddler on the Roof. That would be playing a while. They put that in there. Also, they put the song on, look, I'm the bread to life. With the wrestling thing with Eric Idle. So, Papa, can you hear me? And right before seeking me, God. Now, it's kind of weird because, he keeps questioning God and everything. And there was a moment when I found out that people theorized that Jesus Christ really did exist and all this did happen to him. And he wasn't really the Son of God, that he was having some kind of seizure or mental breakdown. And yet, Jim Caviezel does do that in the performance. It does convey that. My question is, if he really was the Son of God, and was, connected to divine heaven and all that other good stuff, then why would he question his own father? It's like, you did this to me and I never wanted to do it. You made me participate in your little act. It's like, shut up, son. Do what you're told. So, that was kind of weird if that would happen like that. Even though it's a podcast plan and all that, Jesus was just fulfilling his purpose. Again, the Matrix again. I felt like being that Monica Bellucci played Persephone, which is the embodiment of his consort in Greek mythology, similar to, but not equal to, Christian mythology. I feel it's kind of like railroaded into this type of movie. along with the other Italian actors and actresses in this movie. So anyway, they have the part where Jesus Christ allows for them to go to heaven with him, and then all this time it's like put this guy up his misery for everyone's sake, for put Jesus Christ out of his misery, make him suffer all the time, and they give him that little piece of bread, the soup and water, and then later on they poke him with the spear of death, and it's like, what would if you're trying to get my man to death? Why do more or what prolong his suffering by giving him some nutrition and substance? So one of the prisoners posed a question for Jesus Christ, and I don't think that we got an answer to that in any shape or form. And the question is, if Jesus Christ really is the Son of God, the all-powerful and stuff, why didn't he just save himself from all the torture and all this stuff? People will say that he did it because he loved humanity. He wants to love our sinners. He wants to love he wants we our sins, absorb them into himself, and then everything will be forgiven. But I heard from an atheist that it doesn't make any sense because he's trying to appease himself for himself, and then he just wants to torture himself for that, or something like that. Anyway, they have that. And then he ends up being poked by the spear of death, which is a good weapon in God of War. I don't think we're trying to go for that in the game, but it's a funny little comparison. So anyway, I was thinking to myself when he did that, being that he's just eating water, that might not be such a high idea, because they might do like cartoons and they might have him spray a bunch of water every which way, out of a hole and stuff. To which, it's like I said, nah, they're not gonna do that. This movie is realistic enough. They're not gonna do something that's silly. But it turns out that they did. They did that. They did the spray. They did it with blood. They did it with flesh. They did everything. Every bodily fluid that they can imagine putting in that hole. It sprung up, got like a little fountain. Even when he was crucified and nailed to the cross, they had blood come out of his holes. I mean, and then hands, of course. And yeah, it was pretty gruesome and such. But so then they had they had him finally died, and then they had him causing a big earthquake when he passed on. And it's kind of fitting that Jesus Christ is all-knowing, all-powerful Son of God actually passed away with no fanfare, no crowds except his loved ones. The opposite of a attention-seeking whore. We won't mention any here, but you know what I'm talking about. You know exactly what I'm talking about. So, yeah, like a very humble son got but he was a good boy. Anyway, so, then he has a little earthquake moment where he breaks the temple like he promised to do. It's like when the first shockwave occurred, again, done better in the Bible miniseries, but this one kind of like when Caiaphas saw this, he was like, "That's it, ha ha ha!" I laugh in the feasting, ha ha ha. And then the second after the second wave came in and destroyed the temple, and everyone was like, "Oh my God, what have we done?" That was the Son of God, and with the double character of Satan said, "Yes, he's finally dead. Yes, I have fulfilled my purpose. I am the monument to all your sins. Take that, Jesus." So, yeah. And then in the end, in the post-credit scene, they show Jesus Christ off of his holy ass and going to see going to spread the word of his resurrection, complete with holes in his hands. So yeah, I say that I like the idea of this movie, but it was way too over the top, too graphic, too much. I like the idea about the image and the cursing. I like the fact that they chose some more interesting aspects like his healing properties, his the temple being destroyed, um the actors were nice too. The fact that they spoke in Latin was like pretty nice. But I hate the gore. I hate the violence, the over the top violence. The fact that by the end of the movie, Jesus Christ looked less like a human being and more like a piece of beef or a piece of bacon, raw bacon or bacon. The fact that they used such funny torture devices and the fact that the Roman guard were kind of enjoying it a little too much, like they were really into their work. And the fact that I liked all the flashbacks, the mere ride to Jerusalem, the fact that the Sermon on the Mount, the Last Supper, and the fact that they had Monica Bellucci and the Virgin Mary did too. It was nice. And yeah, I really liked the rampant anti-Semitism that happened that they made this movie. I mean, by God, it was horrible. It was horrid. Seeing this movie really brought out the worst in people. I mean, this is a Hollywood movie based on an event that did or did not happen in real life. I believe in Jesus Christ. I don't believe that he would like this movie whatsoever for all the rampant hatred and just violence that happened after it. In the aftermath of it, I doubt it if people would approve of it, or God for that matter. But Jews do not deserve that. They do not deserve to be hated, or because of one group of powerful people who condemned Jesus to die. I guess that they would, that people were like, you killed, then my Lord and Savior, my Messiah, to death, so you gotta die too. That doesn't fly with me. That's too much. It happened many centuries ago, and we don't even know that what happened. Anyway, I think that anti-Semitism or any type of religious hatred is by far uncool. It's so vile, it's so hurtful, it's so disgusting. Whether you believe in Jesus Christ or not, it's still uncouth to do that violence based on something that happened years ago. That might not even happen. And Mel Gibson was trashed for this movie for good reason. He just recently started to come out of the woodwork as far as acting goes. And Jim Caviezel was also literally and figuratively crucified for making this movie. I don't think that's and I hear that they're gonna make a sequel to this movie called The Passion of Christ 2, I'm sure. Or The Passion, if you will. But it's gonna be more about the history, more the spread of the Christian word, which is a hell of a lot better than the violence and the negativity perpetuating this real masochistic masterpiece. So I thank you for watching my video on the Passion of Christ. Let me see. It was about 2 hours long, and I'm sure that if you took out the slow motion, it probably more like an hour long. It was brutal. It was very over the top. It was too violent, too anti-Semitic, too hateful toward those people who don't believe in Jesus Christ of Nazareth, of the Galileans, or the Jews, or Yeshua, which made me think of the Xenosaga Awakening series with one of the characters. Anyway, this is a movie for Easter. I hope you guys enjoy what I do for you guys. And I hate it when people say, I'm gonna crucify you for this, I'm gonna do this to you, I'm gonna whip you to death, and that kind of thing. That's not a threat that you should be putting on people. And I hate when certain politicians say that I'm crucified for this, I'm gonna be crucified for that. I am your Lord and your Savior. Worship me. Especially when that politician uses idols like golden statues of himself. But whatever, you all know I'm going out now. So yeah, I did this for Easter in 2026. About time too. I covered this movie. Anyway, the production value on And this movie's actually pretty good, but there is no way you can just give this movie any but symbol, because it's so gory, so bloody, so over the top violent, so anti-Semitic, so anti-human that I can't like this movie. To be honest, that's probably why I didn't get attached to it as much as I could have, because it's so over the top. It's almost cartoonish. That's what me not desensitized for like violence and things and other movies. So yeah, if you stay to the end of this movie, congratulations. You're as sadistic as I am. So remember, the real Jesus Christ, if he existed, would not condone, would not allow this movie to be made again. He was about love, kindness, acceptance, and turn the other cheek toward your enemies, and the one that inflict violence on you. But anyway, now, have a happy and safe Easter. And if you like what you see here, want to see more of my videos and such, don't like, comment, share, and subscribe to my channel. You can also contact me for future information on videos by calling me or texting me at 631-707-3707. Also, you can get my follow me on Twitter or X if you prefer, called that P Nelson Pro. Also, you can get my email at jjleasingchannel@gmail.com. So, I salute people of all religions, whether they be Christian, Jewish, Muslim, Buddhist, Hindu, for any Native American religion or animism. I would still like to see your review and your opinions about the Passion of the Christ, or even atheists that can look at it in a different perspective altogether. Yeah, don't hate me because I'm beautiful and I have my own opinions about this movie. But it doesn't make me kind of look like Sarah Paulson in this shot. Peace out, my brothers and sisters. For Jesus. I'll see all you girls and guys in Internet Land in the next video. Sayonara, BSN, and all of the Cherokee.